Well, hello and welcome back to the Calorie Deficit University podcast. My name is Alexis. I'm the show's host, and today is going to be a good day because you are trying to learn about yourself. You're trying to understand things about yourself. You have an open mind. You're willing to accept new information, new ideas, new thoughts. And I match that. I love that, and I'm excited to dive right in to answer the big, the bad, the ugly, the crazy hard question of why is losing weight just so goddamn hard? Why? Why is it so hard? Okay. This is a question I hear at least once a day from either someone on the internet or one of my clients. Okay. I get it. I've heard it a lot. I've thought about it a lot, and I've tried really hard to give maybe a nuanced, concise answer that might just help you feel, I don't know, maybe a little bit better about yourself, a little bit less crazy. Because when you feel like losing weight is really hard, you can really get yourself into a bad place where you feel really crazy. And I don't want you to feel crazy. I don't want you to feel discouraged at all. I want you to feel capable, to feel powerful, because you are those things. You are capable. It's a hard word to say. And you are powerful, and you are strong, and you can do hard things. The reason why losing weight is so hard, there's not just one reason, okay? The mechanics of losing weight are actually very easy. When I say mechanics, I mean the science, the inputs are actually very easy. But the application of those mechanics are really hard, okay? Fundamentally, they require change. But I have a new perspective. And if you're new here, you know that I like the nuanced kind of fringe perspectives because they can be really enlightening, especially when we haven't heard them before. I find that the ability to handle the abstract, the ability to accept the unknown, the action without immediate gratification, or knowing that you're going to get something with all this effort, right? The ability to, despite chaos, despite abstract, like the ability to handle those things, and even find meaning within those things, make or breaks your success and ability to understand that weight loss really isn't that hard, but that oftentimes our perspective, our accessibility, our socioeconomic status, our emotions, our trauma, our depression, all these other nuanced variables play a huge part into what you can control and can't control in your life, okay? You're like, great, Alexis, a philosophical episode. Awesome. Yeah, because telling you to move more and eat less hasn't worked, okay? So now I need to get into your brain. I need to peel back the layers and get deep to see what's happening. What are we missing? Because eating your fruits and vegetables and lean protein, tracking your food, making sure that you're eating in a calorie deficit, going to the gym, getting your steps in, lifting weights. If it's not seeming to work and you're being consistent, you're being honest, you're being accurate, you are doing it for longer than a month, then there's something else going on, subconscious, that is getting in your way, that's keeping you from being in a deficit for long enough to see fat come off of your body. Okay? And that's very real. This is why people find so much success with the GLP-1, because it turns off different parts of those process so that you can actually control those inputs and not be swayed or moved by your daily experiences, whether that be emotional or not. Okay? Your ability to critically think will either make or break you. Okay? It will either make you unstoppable or it will stop you. If you're lacking in the ability to critically think, it will literally crush you. And that is not, I think a lot of people have used the term critical thinking to hurt people, to make them feel stupid, or to like dehumanize them. The ability to critically think is highly tied to your accessibility to education and your literacy and comprehension levels. It's largely has nothing to do with you, your intelligence level, or anything of the sort. It has to do with how you were raised, the education level of your parents or peers around you, and the opportunities that you were given to be challenged to critically think. A lot of people don't ever develop those skills because they are not put in the opportunities to do so. I personally lacked the ability to critically think until I was like 25. Seriously, that sounds dramatic. I was so I am still very gullible, but I was very, very gullible and naive, and would get in really bad situations all the time. This is very common also just for women in general. I was a very trusting person, and people who are mean take advantage of that. And so I just did not have a lot of reflection or critical thinking, and it got me in really bad ways. And the only way I was able to improve my ability to critically think, but also my ability to critically think and compartmentalize my emotions outside of that critical thinking, helped me so much. I mean, in life, not just in losing weight and managing my nutrition and like exercise, but helped me be safer. Okay. Let me be clear on this. Ambition without action becomes anxiety. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Ambition without action becomes anxiety. So if you have all these goals and things that you desire and so much ambition about you, that's desirable, but yet you put no action behind it, you're going to become a highly anxious, depressed, really upset person, because your brain doesn't understand why. It's going to constantly put through negative feedback loops of, well, why are you not achieving these things? Why are we not getting where we want to go? We have all these desires, we have all these needs, we have all these wants, but yet we're not getting there. Something is wrong with us. When if you have a baseline ability to critically think, you would be able to analyze, have self-awareness, and say, oh, you know, why am I mad at myself that I'm not where I want to be? I haven't really been putting in the action necessary to get there. And that's on me. That's the problem. That's like the peak top level of maturity. And a lot of people do not have that skill. And yes, it is a skill because you can grow in it, you can change in it, you can improve in it, and it can help you succeed. So a lot of people will choose to put themselves through mental hell with making plans and promises or setting goals for themselves, but then they end up really distraught and in a world of hurt when they do not meet those ambitions with action. It's literally setting yourself up for failure. I call it future fucking yourself. You're literally setting up your future and then fucking yourself. That is crazy. Don't do that to yourself. That is a sure way to make yourself sick, like mentally sick on the inside, and to not be your best partner, your best like advocate. You will start to hate yourself, not believe in yourself, think that you are not capable, and it is a really negative place to be in. Okay, it will literally destroy your mental health. I actually see this happen all the time. It's actually very common, and I struggled with it for a very, very, very long time. I would just sit around beating myself up, comparing myself to others, being like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Something must be wrong with me. And it was a lot of things: being gullible, naive, getting into bad situations, making bad decisions, making uninformed decisions, because I didn't have the ability to critically think about the decisions that I was making. And then I was not self-aware or reflective about those decisions in a way that I was able to have self-accountability and say, oh yeah, you aren't really taking those steps or actions or making changes to get to where you want to go. So why would you have the expectation that you would just get there like magic? And some people do get there like magic if they're maybe nepotized or have people who they can just rely on to do things for them. But for me, that was not the case. It's just me. Especially when it comes to things like my business and things like that. If I look on my left and my right and I'm like, dang, like this person's doing that, and I wish I could do that, and I wish I could do this, and like, well, act like it. One of my favorite perspectives is actually from Michelle Obama. She said, because people have asked her a lot about how they became the couple that they are, you know, how President Obama became president. and things like that of like, do you wake up every day just feeling presidential before you're president? Like, what do you do? And she answered, well, if you really want to get somewhere, you have to start acting like that now. Like, you have to start living your life like you're the president today. Because the only way you're going to get to be there, the only way you're going to grow into being the president is if you're presidential, if you're prepared, if you're ready. And the same thing goes, like, that's what I think people mean when they say fake it till you make it. You're not actually faking it. You're waking up every day trying to be the person you want to be. And that takes time to grow into that person. So if you have ambitions, if you have desires like weight loss, you're going to have to act like it. So to sit around and have like this self-reflection or self-think of like, oh, I wish I could be like this person and not eat that thing or not struggle with that thing. I wish I could have this body, but yet you refuse to go to the gym, or you refuse to lift weights, or you refuse to eat fruits and vegetables, you refuse to eat protein, you refuse to have any reflection or change. You're just hurting yourself. You'd be better off just saying, actually, I don't want to lose weight at all. And really addressing in yourself, do you actually want to lose weight for yourself? Or is that something you feel from pressures around you, from society, from your parents, from your spouse, from your friends? And is it something that you actually have ambition for yourself at all? Because if you have like this ideal physique in your head, to get to where that physique is, you're going to have appropriate inputs for that physique. And if you're unwilling to put those inputs in for that physique, you are going to make yourself feel crazy and sick. And so that's horrible. Don't do that to yourself. So simply put, we are really, really, really not supposed to live like this. Constant comparison to other people, constant pressures and fears and anxieties. We live in an environment that we really are not evolved to live in. Our food environment, stress, work, lack of communities. If you feel like shit, it's probably because there's not something wrong with you. You probably live in an environment that isn't for you. Like I said, we need community. We need to feel valued in that community. We need to have connection to the world, the natural world. We need to feel like we can flourish and meet our natural potential, not our fake potential or what we think our potential might be. So again, going back to, why do you even want to lose weight in the first place? Is it because you want to actually be healthy, or is it because you are vain, or because you think that once you're a certain size or a scale number that you're going to be magically happy? Trust me, you're not going to be happy. You're going to find something else to pick at yourself about. Okay? This is really important. So I really need you to hear me in this. You are programmed to pick a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. We largely act as a human society. We largely act in a way that is prescriptive, pre-programmed, and in line. There are not a lot of choices that you make that are not predicated, that are like unpredictable or obscure. Most people don't take risks, don't take chances. Most people don't even leave the town that they grew up in. So for us to think that all of a sudden magically, even though my whole life I've lived this one way and I've always been overweight and I've never liked fruits and vegetables and have always hated going to the gym, and I've never been able to live a different lifestyle and it's always short term or whatever it might be for you, to think that you would all of a sudden magically with a couple weeks or couple months input change the life that you've been living in, again, is setting the bar too high. It's having expectations out of a normal standard for yourself. It's choosing this familiar hell pattern of thinking, of holding yourself to such a high standard that like you made up, that doesn't really exist. And like I said, we are much more programmed. Think about like how you went to high school, how you went to middle school. Everything is planned and set in a very specific place, and the path that you're on is very set from really like the day you're born. Your socioeconomic status, your friends, maybe even your religion, your worldview, belief systems, where you are born and who you are born into largely predetermines a lot of your life. And so if you want a unfamiliar heaven, if you want a life that you actually are so like alien to, you are so fresh to, okay, you have to accept the discomfort of unfamiliarity. You are not going to get to where you want to go, like losing weight, by doing the same things that you've done before. Your old patterns of behavior of running through the drive-through, or cutting corners, or skipping workouts, or never working out at all of those things are going to have to do a complete 180 to lose weight. And that's why it's hard. While diet and exercise is very simple, literally go to the gym and move your body, get steps in, go on a walk. Those are very simple tasks. Like when I say them, like, oh yeah, go to the gym. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go to the gym. Okay, now what? Are you able to go consistently? Are you able to go and push yourself? Are you able to go and actually have an effective workout that you track what you're doing, so that next time you go, you can work a little harder and improve a little bit and put on a little bit more muscle? Are you actually self-aware enough to monitor your protein and your calories, and making sure that you're getting enough fiber and fat? And are you eating too many carbs or not enough carbs? Like, all of these things, when you're overweight, are completely foreign to you. And so to expect yourself to understand and fully master and grasp in a way that you would have perfect week after week outcomes of the scale, perfectly doing exactly what you want it to do, when this is a new life, this is a new routine, new habits, that these are things that you've really never done before consistently long enough to have the life that you want, that is maddening. That is maddening. Why would you do that to yourself? Be nicer to yourself. Be more patient with yourself. Like, all the life you've lived that you haven't been aware of your weight, or wanting to lose weight, or wanting to have nutrition management, or going to having regular exercise as a part of your life, those are things that take a little bit of time to master. And it's okay that it takes time. So stop being so hard on yourself, being more patient and willing to make really hard changes and sacrifices that will help you succeed instead of tearing you down. So I will validate, systemic issues with food, and accessibility, which I'm going to do an entire podcast episode on that. That takes a lot of research and time, but I will do an episode on that. But those are largely not the predominant reason why you're where you are. Okay, so I would encourage you to not look for external reasons as to why, because even though they are real, even though they matter, right now, today, you, yourself, just you, are probably not able to completely and totally change something like the systemic issues with food, or the corporate structure of how food is marketed and distributed to us. You're probably not going to be able to change that. But you know what you can change? You can change your own personal actions. You can change your own personal life. You can work on your own nutrition, your own movement. And that is something like you're fully in control of. And that's empowering. But sitting back and trying to point the finger at someone in the sky is actually going to make everything feel way worse. It'll make you feel very, very helpless and upset, trying to point the finger at other people instead of trying to do what you can with the life that you have, the options that you have. Huge thing. Okay. This is probably one of the most fundamental pieces of research that helped me, but it helps my clients really see themselves, self-actualize, being able to accept the abstract, being able to start to critically think. Okay. So there was a research study about human behavior, and I'm going to read this because I want to be precise. When we study individuals who are trying to lose weight, but seem not to be successful, okay, in doing so on their own. This is what we found. So in the study, the subjects claimed that they ate about 1,200 calories per day, so 1,200 calories a day, and that they could not lose weight on that caloric consumption. That was the claim, right? And so they took people with that predisposition, that predisposed belief system that they were eating a lower calorie diet, yet something was broken, something's wrong because they do not lose weight and did not lose weight on that caloric amount. And so what the researchers did is they said, okay, live your life, and we're going to track, like they monitored them in a facility and said, we're going to track your food intake and your activity for you scientifically. And of course, there will be some, and the researchers accounted for this, there will be some error. We know that when human beings are being monitored, they change their behavior. So they accounted for this and took like their previous logs that they came to the table with and calculated in error, okay, with this. But even with the already like predisposed belief that, yeah, we know they're going to be on their best behavior, okay, because we're monitoring them, right? Think about if I was monitoring you or a scientist was monitoring you, you would try and be on your best movement behavior, your best eating behavior. Even that, with that considered, the subjects underestimated their caloric intake. This is going to blow your mind, by 53%. 53%. 53%. 53%. I'm going to keep saying it. 53%. So they thought that they were eating 53% less than what they were. 53%. And they overestimated their activity by 47%. 47%. So they thought they were moving 47% more than they actually were. Whoa. That's crazy. They also measured their metabolic rate and total daily energy expenditure. And they found they were not to have, like they didn't have slowed metabolic syndromes. They had nothing wrong with their bodies. They had no like hyperthyroidism, PCOS, nothing metabolic going on at all. They were all normal, healthy, normal, well, relatively healthy, except for being overweight. Individuals. They had no other medical conditions going on other than being overweight. And they thought they were eating 53% less than they were, and they thought that they were moving 47% more than they were. And so if I give you that, does that make you feel better about yourself? I hope so. That first of all, you're not alone in underestimating just how much you eat and overestimating just how much you move, that's actually pretty normal. Yeah, it's pretty normy. And like everybody has the bias to think that they're doing better than they actually are. Most people are not self-aware enough to improve. That's why we have systems and processes in life like grading. Because if you went through your whole educational experience never getting like a grade, and always thinking that you like understood the material, that would be really bad. Like if you never got feedback and you thought you were getting like A+ all the time, but really you were failing everything, that would be super duper bad. And so I do grading with my clients of like, hey, give yourself a grade. Like, how do you think you did this week? And they're like, oh, it's always, I liked a B, like I could have improved on this, like there were areas of improvement for that. And usually it's a D or an F, babes. I hate to say it, but it's usually a D or an F. Most people really only, even when they have a coach, are only putting in about 50% of the effort. Yeah. And the research tracks, the data tracks in that and supports that. And so again, it's not derogatory, it's not mean, just understanding that there's a fundamental lack of awareness around just how much you're eating and just how much you're moving. And so if you start there by simply just tracking your food as accurately as possible, learning that skill and tracking your movement and your energy expenditure, like your exercise and your steps, and learning how to be consistent with that and pushing yourself with that, you will see dramatic improvement in your efficiency and accuracy of losing weight, and it will start to be less emotional, more mathematic, and easier. Hate to say, but it does work. Again, so what was lacking? What was lacking with those people in that study? Education and awareness. Yep, that's it. They just lacked the skill of tracking their own food and understanding their energy expenditure. So with, it seems like things are stacked against me, right? Oh man, that's like really hard. Tracking my food is so hard. Being consistent is so hard. Going to the gym is so hard. It's hard because it's new. It gets easier the more you do it. Think about how hard finishing high school is, how hard getting an undergraduate degree, a master's degree, how hard going to your job every day is, getting a promotion, raising a kid, saving for a mortgage, managing a house. Like, you do hard things all the time. The thing that's very different with weight loss is, for a lot of people, it's really emotional. And especially when heightened hunger is involved and misinformation, it can feel like you're crazy. So what do you do about it? First off, you need to believe in yourself. And you need to give yourself some grace and some space and some time, and take it one day at a time and try to get better each day. You didn't cram your 4-year undergraduate degree into 3 months. Okay. And if you did, you shouldn't be listening to me. You're way smarter than me. No way. You got me beat. I crammed my 4-year degree into 2.5, but I don't recommend that, because I didn't get a break. I didn't get a holiday, and I was like, stressed and burnt out by the end of it. So don't do that. But you have to be a little bit more patient with yourself. Okay. So to summarize, what I really need you to do is become more self-aware and self-accountable. The only way you can do that is by collecting as much data as possible about yourself and trying to reflect on it as frequently as possible. This can be through journaling, through your MyFitnessPal, whatever it might be. You need to try and reflect and kind of treat yourself like a petri dish. Treat yourself like a science experiment and less like an emotional journey. Now, if you have issues with body image, if you have issues with therapeutic processes with food, you need more than this fucking podcast, dude. You need therapy, and you need to do that hard work, because a little podcast is not going to make you love yourself. Sure, maybe if you listen to my entire catalog of 150 episodes, you will see the evolution of my teaching and my practices, and you will start to love yourself more, but that does not replace therapy if you need it. Please, dear God, do not listen to any podcast, even like a therapist podcast. Get real therapy. Jesus. Okay. Number 2 is you need to take more action, not less. So if you are discouraged by lack of progress, you need to do more, not retreat. You need to do it scared, do it happy, do it sad, do it tired. When it comes to nutrition management and exercise, those are like the 2 things that, even if you're sad, you need to do those things to take care of yourself. And I used to be really what is the word? Behemothly, I used to be violently against that. I'd be like, I'm sad, so I deserve a treat, or I'm sad, so I'm just going to sit in my bed all day. No, that's not going to help you feel better. That's not going to take care of yourself. It might in the immediate gratification of it all, but moving your body, getting sunshine, trying to create space for yourself, slowing down, eating fruit, eating vegetables. It sounds so silly when I say it out loud, but you need to take care of yourself. By neglecting yourself, you're going to abandon yourself and you're going to hate yourself. You need to start to learn how to take care of yourself through nutrition management and exercise. It's really important. I used to also get mad at my therapist when she was like, well, are you going to the gym? Are you walking? Your antidepressants only do so much if you don't also eat well and move your body and sleep and drink your water. That's exactly how I would tell her. That's what you sound like to me right now. And she was very helpful and very nice, and she saved my life. And I did do what she said, obviously, because I'm better. But I understand where you're coming from. In the moment, it doesn't feel so great, and it feels like a really, really, really big uphill battle. But I believe in you and you can do it. You need to create a new reality with radical boundaries against anything that is that is trying to keep you away from taking care of yourself. Okay. You need to create boundaries with people, situations, environments that prevent you from prioritizing your health and your needs. Number 4, you need to embrace doing very hard things and embrace the unfamiliar heaven, because it is a good thing at the end, I swear. And number 5, hear me in this. This is the end of the episode. You need to never give up and just keep going. You have a lot to learn. Stop thinking that you are just going to be good at everything you're trying to do in a month or even like 75 days. Like, fuck that 75 hard bullshit. Like, it's going to take a little bit longer for you to master this new lifestyle of trying to manage your weight and lose weight. It's going to take time. And like, that's a good thing. Losing weight rapidly is like really not good for you. You can lose muscle mass, you can lose bone density, and it can give you a really disordered view around food, and can make managing your weight long term really hard. Okay? Again, I believe in you. You can do it. I know it's hard, but just keep going. And of course, hire help if you need it. Therapist, dietitian, nutritionist, personal trainer, coach, whatever you think you need, do it. Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next episode.